Welcome to this training session on the use of Smarty. Today, we will be covering three main objectives. We will explore the methodology and the concepts behind the series. We will also talk about how to integrate the physical and the digital components to teach a class, and we will explore each of the lessons in a typical unit. So let's start by talking about the methodology. Smart Team has an eclectic methodology because it combines different approaches, starting with experiential learning. This means that our students are going to actively discover the use of the language instead of just exploring the language itself. So they will explore the world around them through their personal experiences and through the activities, meaning that instead of a traditional approach in which they have to memorize the language and the grammar rules and the vocabulary, they explore the use of the language in a context, in a specific context, so they learn by doing. Additionally, Smarty has a CLIL approach. Remember that CLIL stands for Content and Language Integrated Learning, and that means that we are teaching subjects like science, history, geography, and to our students in the target language. So we will explore the subjects using English as the tool. This means that we are going to use the four C's of CLIL. The four C's of CLIL are the four main pillars of the CLIL methodology, and they include the content, the communication, the culture, and the cognition. That means that we are going to explore this content, provoking communication in our students, which will um, provoke the discovery of a cultural aspect of a global culture that requires the use of our thinking skills or our cognition. And that is clear in a nutshell, but I recommend that you explore a little bit more about this on your own. Additionally, we have a communicative approach. This means that our students will be provoked to use the language in content, um, not just provoking linguistic competence, but motivating our students to use the language in a context. Again, not a traditional approach to learning English. Finally, um, Smarty uses the Competencies for Lifelong Learning framework. This is a framework of 8 different competencies that our students will take with them for the rest of their lives. The first one is learning to learn. Learning to learn means that our students are working with the learning proficiency, discovering, setting goals, and in addition, increasing their own learning. And on the second level, we have the linguistic communication. Linguistic competency and communication means that we are using oral, written skills, expression of ideas, interpretation of ideas, concepts, feelings, facts, and opinions. So everything that entails the use of the language. Third place, we have social competence and citizenship. This means that our students will develop a social conduct, a behavior that is focused on the well-being of themselves and of others. Then we have autonomy and personal initiative. This means that our students will develop and evaluate their own work with competence and by, by also being critical of their work. Then we have the mathematical competency. This, of course, means that our students are able to use numbers, basic operations, symbols, and everything that entitles mathematical reasoning. Then we have knowledge and interaction with the physical world. And this has a lot to do with being able to explain phenomena using the scientific method. That means observing, creating, conducting experiments, um, evaluating and assessing the information, giving examples, etc. Processing information and digital competence is the next one. That means that our students are able to use traditional and modern technology to obtain, process, and transmit the information. And finally, cultural and artistic competence. And that means that our students can develop an appreciation for artistic and cultural manifestations. So once again, as you can see, we are talking about a very complex and rich methodology that is not only focused on the development of language, but that also focuses on holistically developing our students like in a holistic way, like a whole human being. So now let's work a little bit with the structure of the unit. Let's talk about the different lessons that we will find and the order in which they will be presented, starting with the unit opener. The opening that happens, of course, at the beginning of each unit presents the context and the vocabulary and the main theme of our unit. Um, this is presented through a fiction or non-fiction text that comes also with some reading comprehension activities. This, of course, promotes not only linguistic competence, but also thinking skills. Our students start analyzing the language in a specific context. Then we will find the song. The song is the section that presents the exploration of the vocabulary through, of course, the use of a song, um, motivating our students, but also promoting oral expression and some other abilities. The vocabulary is also presented through images to provide a clear context, to make our students being able to make those connections with the visual aspect. Then you will find the CLIL section. The CLIL section addresses the new language that we have been exploring, but in a specific context. We are going to explore the content in a specific context. We use the unit theme through different perspectives, um, using a science or social sciences project and using creativity and collaboration. So that means that our students are able to link what they have learned in the language with a very specific context. Then we will find the roundup. The roundup section enables our students to consolidate the learning that they have done through the unit, working with a text, written or spoken. So listening and reading skills. Um, we also have a song related to the unit theme and some self-evaluation or self-assessment activities. So this is the moment in which we start consolidating and crystallizing learning. Then we will find the activities section. This is where we consolidate learning more, even more than in the roundup, and practice our skills. Finally, we will find the I like and I can section. This is where our students reflect on their learning of the unit, and they become aware of their process of metacognition. They are able to pinpoint what they like, what they didn't like, what they accomplished, what they need to work on, etc., etc. And finally, every 2 units, you will find the games and integration section. This presents a game that, as the name says, integrates the learning, the vocabulary, the structures, and the skills of these 2 units. So this is a way in which we can review and consolidate every 2 units. Now, At the end of the book, after the last unit, you will find the extra activities section. These extra activities give you some additional practice that you can use in whichever way you want. You can either decide to use it with the fast finishers or with the whole class or just with some specific students that need some reinforcement. This is basically the unit that we will be working with. Now, let's explore a little bit the resources that we will be using. So on the physical side, remember that your students will be working with just the student book. This is the book that they will use for the entirety of the course. And then you, on the physical side, will have your teacher's guide and your class CD. Now, remember, everything that comes on that CD is digitized in the virtual learning environment. So let's talk a little bit about the digital resources, what you will find in the digital environment. And let's do that by exploring SM Aprendizaje. This is our virtual learning environment that you will use for the entirety of your course. Here, first, you need to create your account. You need to validate your licenses, and you can check the other videos related to that. Once you have your licenses, you can access all of your courses in the same space, and you will find the information presented in different sections. First, we have the content in which you will find all of your units, and then you will find the teacher resources. Let's explore the teacher resources first. Here, you will find your planner. This is a planner already prepared for the entire year that you can use as a guide or as you're planning for the entire course. You can download this document, copy, paste, and edit it in whichever way you feel more comfortable. And then you will find the digitization of the entirety of your unit, your teacher's guide, from the introduction to the extra activities. Then you will find the same, but in Spanish. You will also find here some downloadable resources, specifically some worksheets for each unit. Um, you will find the printable, photocopyable version first, and then the teacher's edition, meaning that that is the one that has all the answers. Then it will go back to the contents and open one of the units. You will see that we have different sections. And firstly, we have the student's book. The student's book is a digitization of what your students have physically, with the addition of some clickable elements that correspond to the tracks, to the listening activities that that you will use throughout the unit. So every time that you find one of these, you can click on it and it will open the player so you can play this with your students in the class. Then we have the digital resources. This is divided into two, the digital resources for the teacher and for the students. And in the teacher side, you will find all of the audios that you can play from here or that you can even make visible for your students so that they can listen to them on their own. Also, you have this section called My Resources. In this section, you can upload personal resources that you want to share with your students. This can be an audio document, video file, a web link, or an image that you want to share with your students. So for example, you create a worksheet, you can upload it here on the document, make it visible for your students, and then share it. Then if we go to the digital resources for the students, we will find a game and any other thing that you decide that you want to share, for example, one of the audios or your worksheets, they will appear here. This game can be done inside the classroom or it can be done as an extra activity at home. Later, we can go to the teacher resources, and here we will find the planner again, but just for this unit. Then you have your ebooks, uh, your teacher's guide, your extra activities in both English and Spanish, and your worksheets, and also the ability to create new resources. Finally, we have the assignment section, in which we have four different activities for practice and consolidation that you can assign to your class, um, to the entirety of your class, or to specific students. You can also come here and create some suggestions for individual students. So again, working with some worksheets that you can upload, or any other kind of work. And then you have this section for group work, in which you can create some suggestions for your whole group to work with. For example, you can create a forum, a discussion forum, a gallery, or a newspaper that you can work with the entire group. So that's basically the resources that you will find in your digital space, in your virtual learning environment. And if you want to know more, please check out the other videos in which the entire exploration of the environment is done. And I hope you enjoyed this session. Please reach out if you have any further questions or need any further assistance. Thank you very much for your attention, and we will see you next time.